Alright, this is the beginning video for the 1254, 1264, 1274, 1286. This happens to be a 1286. Just the rebuilding of the wheel motor. First, you want to cap and plug the case drain line, the case flush line. If you're gonna so that way the oil will stop draining out. Then before you release the brakes, you can take a breaker bar with your Allen and you can bust all of these cap screws loose that hold the two housings together. Then you can take your brake release bolt, insert that in, just thread her in as far as she'll go, and then take the jam nut and keep rotating that. It turns really hard, but pull that piston back away from the clutch pack in there so that you've got just a little bit of room for when you go back to assemble. It'll go back in a little easier. Then most of the time these Allen screws here, there's 4 of them, and you'll just have to warm them up with a torch, get them to maybe where they start turning colors, just getting a little bit red, and you can just go to the next one, let it cool down, and then they come out real nice. So this one is loose. The brake release bolt has been cranked up really tight, and you can see we got a gap starting right here where the outer brake hub is ready to come off. Alright, we're gonna remove the brake hub. It's pretty heavy, Kenny, so hold up on her, give her a lot of...
Got the clutch back there, Roger?
Yep, everything is still staying good there. Okay, oop, there's one plate. They'll stay on there if they stay on, as long as they don't fall in the oil is the main thing.
Alright, I got
just kind of try to...
Yep, just the one's gonna stay, it looks like. Maybe.
Try to lift up a little bit. Yeah. This hand's got to come up. You're crooked here.
Yeah, I see it. I see what you're saying.
Go ahead and pull her back there.
Yep.
If they stay on there, that's okay. Just want to be careful not to drop them in the oil, and you have to pick them out of there.
Stuck on the spring or something, Roger.
Hmm?
Stuck on the spring or something.
Oh, she's caught. Now, pull her out. I see it. This one.
Yep, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Set them back in order. Alrighty. Okay, next we're going to take the snap ring off. If you go back one up, yeah.
There she is.
Alright, then the next, the gears slide off. Alright, next we got to remove these 2 plugs and put in the press tool, along with also taking this row of Allens out and removing the cover. Stay more in the center, okay? Circle the center.
Yep.
There you go. The outsides aren't they're not very thick on the outside. The ones with damaged insides like that, you'll want to replace those with new for the next time. So we're gonna remove that ring, get our tool ready to put in there, and we're gonna also remove this ring of outside bolts. Okay, so the sealing ring right here.
Okay, I see it.
Rides on here, so that's what keeps the oil in. So you want, and then the O-ring, the O-ring sits on this and seals that up. So keeps all the oil in into the bearing area. All right, so dump that out, and then you're gonna roll it around to your right, and keep it out of the groove. So kind of pull this way and roll it. Just roll it all the way out. All right, now go ahead and slide her on off and set her in line there. Piece number 2. Okay, we got the plugs out. We got to make sure that these don't. There's springs and poppets under there. Make sure those stay in place. Go ahead and install your first part of your press tool. And these don't have to be super tight, they just need to be snug.
Okay.
Alright, now grab that piece next. And we'll tighten them up and okay, we'll tighten them up off screen. I'll grab that 90-degree O-ring pick again, and do you have a pry bar, slightly angled one? All right, now if you look up under this groove here, there's an internal snap ring sitting in a slot. See, you can barely see it there. Go ahead and get your O-ring pick and lift that up. You're gonna get it out of a crease that's in these 2/2 shims.
Yeah.
And then with your pry bar on the top, you're gonna try to flip that up and over. Oh, we're gonna be sure not to break, but you're going to use this as a pry bar. See how that springs up?
Oh, yep, I see it.
I don't know if I can get that.
Yep, I see it.
So you're gonna pull it up like that, and then get up behind it with a pry bar.
Yep.
Here, I'll let you do it with this. Or sometimes you can pull too. You can kind of feel the spring,
Okay.
but of course you wanna only prise. Oh, you got it. Now work your way around, and sometimes you gotta get pretty aggressive.
Keep holding up on it.
Actually, no, you shouldn't, because it should be up out of that groove, but you can actually give her a pop.
To this other side.
Kind of work it like taking off a tire. You don't want to go too far over. Oops, you just have to find that magic spot. Now the key is, and we'll talk about this now, but when you go back together again, you want to make sure to get these 2 half-moon pieces in all the way. If they're not, you can about imagine how tight that is. It won't fit on, actually. So, okay, here's piece number 3. All right, now we're going to finish tightening up our press tool. And we're going to get our press tool in to relax the pressure of, this is the preload part. We're going to relax the pressure. We're going to push the bearing inward to where our 2/2 of our shim retainers will slide out of our groove on our shaft. Alright, I'm going to slide the press tool on, and we got a gap here on top, and there's another gap like that on the bottom. These are 2 halves, and we're going to want to take these halves out of the groove. Go ahead and spin this around, give it a 180. Yep, see, then you got a gap on this side. So we're going to want one snap ring to come out one side and one to come out the other. So you'll have to make sure.
So
Put them, yep.
Like that.
Split that. He's splitting, back up a sec. He's splitting this gap here, right in the center of there, so the snap rings can come right out these side openings. Alright, Kenny's gonna give me another bump on the wrench just to make sure it's tight. a pretty firm push. Alright, now I was going to try to hook the snap rings with the O-ring pick. You hit that gap up on top. Remember the gap?
There it is. Pretty snug.
Alright, get your long punch, long skinny punch and hammer, and we'll tap them out. There's one. You feel how snug they are when you're tapping those, Kenny?
Yes, I do.
That's nice and snug. That's about the way we want them when we go back together.
Okay.
Most of the time, those are loose and they pop right, they'll fall out. And if that's the case, they have different sizes of these, different thicknesses. And you're going to want to make sure to go to a thicker size. So you measure these with a dial caliper. And then after so many times, you'll know I gotta go. They go in like sets of every 3/1000ths. You'll think like, well, that one was so loose, you know, I may need 6/1000ths wider. So then when you put them in, and we'll be going through that later, but when you put them in, I want to tap them in with a hammer. I don't want to slam them in, but I want to have to tap them in about the same as what you just took out.
Okay.
That's a perfect install. So we'll most likely be using these shims on this particular project. All right, we're going to basically take the press tool back off. We're going to clean out our removal holes here, our actual press holes. There's 4 of them, but we only need to use 2 across from each other and get our fully threaded press bolts in, and we will split our wheel motor in half. Alright, work each one back and forth, and you should see the and watch your bearings going to come sliding off of here, and so you're going to want to try to catch it with your knee or catch it with your hand if it pops.
Okay.
So just work each one a little at a time. You'll see some oil going to come out of the bottom of the wheel. You got it turned down. Go ahead and lower your power. Beautiful. Give her hell. Comes off. Okay, you should start seeing it move here. You got all your bolts out? No. There's one down there. Oh crap!
Kidding me?
I was wondering why it wasn't moving. Kenny, I got that on video too.
Oh,
you're busted.
Man.
Amazing.
This is amazing.
Now, you can try to see you're working your bearing. Sometimes they'll come out nice. You can go ahead and grab them 2 bolts as levers. And maybe just hold your knee up there and wiggle it back and forth as if you're taking that baby off nice and straight. Or still pretty solid. Oh, okay, go ahead and you can slap the bearing then. You know, bang, bang. There you go, perfect. Oops, I had the camera a little high. Go ahead now, wrap your bearing, check your bearing, inspect it for any wear. Make sure don't get any dirt on it. Pull it off of there. You can leave that, you can let go. That ain't going anywhere. Check your rollers, wrap it in a towel, and throw it on the bottom shelf there. And you want to inspect your race, make sure your race is good. Zip your bolts out while you're right here. And go ahead and set this piece down. All the holes good in the bolts?
Yes.
All right.
I don't see anything that
This is when we'd helicoil something if the threads were bad. Get them cleaned up. Those are anti-seize in them. We want to make sure to clean out all the anti-seize. Anti-seize actually will harm that after a while. It just gets too thick in there. Don't hurt your threads here on your post. And here's an O-ring we'll get new in a kit. Alright, we have another one of these locking rings. And we will grab that other press tool. we will be unlocking this ring the same as the other one with an O-ring pick and a pry bar to pop this off. And then we're going to slide the press tool on. And we're going to gently push in on against the springs behind the piston assembly. And we're going to pop out our 2 half-moon snap rings. So we'll do that next. Alright, Kenny's putting the press tool on. He's got the locking ring off. We're just going to snug this in. The springs push in relatively easy. So go ahead and spin it on there, Kenny. We'll watch. This will kind of go into the housing a little bit. And you should feel it hit a dead end. Nice. Don't force anything on this. When you feel it hit, you stop. Okay, it's really easy. Oh, try that. Go ahead and pull them.
There it is.
There we go. Alright. We'll do Dave's trick. Dave lets her spin like that. Camera going. Alright, get a couple pry bars in. Go ahead and work it out. Maybe try to get more across from each other. Bring one, go a little bit wider. A little more equal. Give her a big push now. Okay, now you can hook in back in behind them. Nope, you gotta go now, have to go in through a lobe. There you go. Okay, the distributor's coming with it, which is common. So set your bars down. Grab this with 2 hands. Now you're gonna pull it out a little bit, and you're gonna tilt it, and then that will pop the distributor loose.
Tilt it.
Go ahead and back it out some more. I'll give it a tilt. Bang it. It's just vacuumed on with oil. Pull it out a little bit more.
Okay.
To where you got clearance on this. And just there she come.
Alrighty.
All right, now we're gonna want to inspect. Go ahead. We're going to want to inspect our surfaces, our lapped surface right there, and we're going to want to inspect the surfaces on our distributor. There's no timing on these. They basically just go in. If you want to grab this distributor, Kenny, we'll show you what, as far as twist it to the back side. We just have these alignment pins here and here, and those alignment pins will hit that notch and that one down there. That's the alignment. It can go in either way. There are some wheel motors that have to be in a certain way, so those would be marked, but on this particular motor there's only one way to do it. So okay, you can set that down. Next we're going to pull these sealing rings out. Real similar with the 90-degree O-ring pick, and there's 3 of them, and we'll roll them out like we did that first one up in here.